My fear is that he got hurt and that he's stuck. Those mountains, that forest goes for a very long time and it's extremely dense. Those were the chilling words of Nancy Higginbotham. She was speaking about her missing 20-year-old son, lost somewhere in the dark, rain-soaked mountains of Kyoto, Japan. It's literally a terrifying reality that any parent dreads. But what started as a desperate missing persons case in a foreign country actually unravels to reveal something much, much deeper about the psychological weight being carried by today's youth.
Welcome to this explainer. Today, we're unpacking the tragic mystery of James Weston Higginbotham. We are going to look closely at the exact timeline of his disappearance in the Japanese wilderness, the massive search efforts that followed, and really dig into the profound generational themes that this story brings to the surface. It's a story about a young man, a family's unimaginable loss, and an entire generation grappling with the future of our planet.
Part 1. Vanished in Kyoto. Okay, let's dive right into this. To truly understand what happened on what was supposed to be just a fun, memorable family vacation to Japan, we first need to understand who Weston was. Standing 6'1" with shoulder-length blonde hair, Weston was a 20-year-old junior at Auburn University. But he wasn't just a student going through the motions, he was someone deeply, deeply committed to his convictions. He was studying biosystems engineering, which is a field intensely focused on sustainability. His friends and families describe him as a passionate environmentalist and a highly experienced outdoorsman. On the actual day he vanished, he was wearing a white t-shirt that literally read, "Save the Bees," right on the back. He even wore his love for nature on the skin, with a small tattoo of 2 trees and a tent on his left ankle. Weston was absolutely connected to the natural world. Now, the timeline for May 29th is brief, but it's critical. In the afternoon, just after lunch, Weston decided to separate from his parents and brother. They were heading off to visit a nearby temple, but Weston, being the avid hiker he was, wanted to explore the local nature trails instead. Fast forward a bit to 8 p.m. Surveillance footage captures him leaving the Yamashina train station, just east of central Kyoto. His parents were actually monitoring the Life 360 family tracking app, saw his location moving, and texted him. They got no response. Then, at exactly 8:29 p.m., his phone signal vanished completely into the darkness of the Yamashina forests. Part 2. The Desperate Search. Obviously, when Weston failed to return, the situation escalated from concerning to downright dire. Japanese authorities immediately launched a massive operation. We're talking over 100 police officers, K-9 units, and helicopters deployed, but they were searching in absolute nightmare conditions. That very night, the remnants of a typhoon slammed into Kyoto. This hampered the search with incredibly steep, treacherous terrain, a super dense forest canopy, and just relentless heavy rain. After 72 hours of thoroughly combing their assigned zones, the police officially suspended their search. They hadn't found a single trace of him. But the Higginbotham family? They refused to give up. On June 5th, the exact same day the police suspended their efforts, the family hired a professional private rescue crew, costing over $100,000. They were backed by Texas EquiSearch, and they rallied local volunteers with serious hiking experience. They smartly directed their efforts to mountainous regions that the police had previously bypassed. Tragically, the very next day, on June 6th, this volunteer team found Weston's body in a remote forested area outside Kyoto. Now, it's really vital to state clearly right here. The official cause of death remains unconfirmed by Japanese authorities. The investigation is still ongoing, and any claims regarding exactly how he passed are purely speculative. Our focus has to remain strictly on the facts as reported, respectfully keeping his family's, as his mother described it, unimaginable loss right at the center of this narrative. Part 3. The ChatGPT argument. Now, what's really interesting about this is right before Weston walked into those woods, reports indicate a specific tension that sheds a lot of light on his mindset. He and his mother had what she later called a sore subject of an argument. They fiercely disagreed over her use of the artificial intelligence tool, ChatGPT. To his mother, look, AI was simply a helpful, necessary tool for navigating the intense complexities of a foreign country. Makes sense, right? But to Weston, a sustainability engineering student, AI represented a massive environmental threat. He was acutely aware that powering artificial intelligence requires immense amounts of energy and depletes critical water resources. It was a stark generational divide playing out in real time, right there on their vacation. And this brings us to a crucial, thought-provoking question. Did this specific argument over AI, combined with the heavy, overarching burden of what we call climate anxiety, drive Weston to seek the quiet solitude of the mountains that night? While we obviously can't know his final thoughts, zooming out from the immediate mystery really connects his personal distress to a massive growing societal issue. Part 4. Understanding climate anxiety. We really need to look closely at the intense psychological toll environmental education is taking on young adults today. It's defined as climate anxiety or eco-grief. Essentially, it's a chronic fear of environmental doom that causes intense existential discomfort and profound despair about the future of the planet. For a lot of older adults, rapid technological advancements like AI represent innovation, efficiency, opportunity. But for many younger people, who are already totally overwhelmed by headlines of ecological decline, this kind of tech feels like just another heavy layer of instability being added to an already fragile world. To really understand this, listen to this quote from an anonymous environmental science student, which was published during the discourse following Weston's disappearance. They said, "Doing 4 years of environmental education is extremely depressing. It's one bleak stat after another. Older people are excited to be hip to new technology. Many young people find it really fucking bleak." That perfectly illustrates how isolating and overwhelming it can feel for students who are immersed daily in the reality of ecological decline. And honestly, this reveals a massive flaw in modern environmental education. As a society, we have become incredibly efficient at communicating the catastrophe. We teach students all about melting glaciers, ocean plastics, biodiversity collapse. We have absolutely mastered awareness. But we've somehow forgotten to teach the solutions. We are leaving students acutely aware of the crisis, but entirely unempowered to actually fix it. Part 5. Building a better future. Let's move to and see how this builds. The narrative doesn't have to end in despair, but it definitely helps to contextualize this fear. Past generations grew up with their own intense existential anxieties, right? Living with the very real fear of nuclear war and Cold War mushroom clouds. Today's current generation faces a different but equally heavy burden: constant, relentless headlines about climate change, ecological collapse, and wildly disruptive AI. The exact fear is different, but the psychological weight, it's incredibly similar. But here is the amazing thing. Unlike previous generations, today's youth are surrounded by remarkable opportunities. There are massive, active solutions happening right now that rarely make the front page. We're seeing rapid advancements in green hydrogen technologies. And get this, brilliant entrepreneurs are creating completely plastic-free packaging out of things like seaweed and mushrooms. No way, right? We are witnessing the rise of the circular economy, where we repair instead of discard, and, incredibly, renewable energy is now the absolute cheapest form of electricity in many parts of the world. These are massive, game-changing wins. So how do we fix the system? Well, we have to reframe environmental education into 3 clear steps. Step 1, we absolutely must continue to honestly teach the broken realities of ecological degradation. We can't hide the truth. But step 2 is crucial. We must equally highlight how scientists, farmers, designers, and engineers are out there actively building solutions. And step 3, we must empower students with the actual tools to create the future, ensuring they graduate with actionable skills and hope, rather than paralyzing hopelessness. Weston Higginbotham cared deeply about this planet. He lived his convictions, and his tragic loss in those Kyoto mountains has sparked a conversation that we frankly can no longer ignore. A generation raised on warnings needs more than just warnings. It needs pathways forward. So I want to leave you with this final thought. How can we, in our schools, our homes, and our media, prepare the next generation to face the future with empowerment rather than despair? Think about that. Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer, and keep learning.